Thank you all for joining in for the Q&A for Kashish 2020 Virtual. Your films are in the International Narrative Shorts Competition, and we are really excited to have you people here. Over to Abhra, and you can ask them for their film name and where they are from, etc. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sridhar. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for making time for this Q&A. I know we are in different parts of the world right now, so all under lockdown from our homes. And I would, first start. Could you please tell us who you are and where you are calling from right now?
I'm Arthur Halpern. I'm the director of Touchscreen, and I am in Brooklyn, New York.
Hi, so I am Kelly Miller, and I'm the writer and producer and an actor in Touchscreen, and I'm dialing in from Queens, New York.
Ivan Lowenberg, I'm from Mexico City, and I'm the director of the short film Encounter.
Both your films are lovely portraitures of, both of them have a common theme, Encounter is a lovely portraiture of old age and, this process of aging, and we see, not only the struggles of an elderly lesbian couple, we also see a young boy who is struggling with his own orientation, right? And then the struggles across generation is portrayed really well. Ivan, so can you tell us about the journey of the film?
The leading actress of the short film is now 92 years old, and I have met her since almost 11 years. No, 12 years already. I worked with her in a previous film 12 years ago. And ever since we have been very close, and she became kind of a grandmother to me, and we see each other often. So during the last years, she has been sharing with me some of her concerns of getting old. I mean, she's not lesbian, but either way, she's getting old, and she shares with me some vulnerabilities. So at some point, I think I projected myself maybe in that possible scenario of getting old and getting vulnerable. So I projected in her some of my very personal concerns and tried to build a story of these two people from different generations, but a story that could be the reflection of each other, like the youth of the elder woman could be this young guy, and the possible future of this young guy could be this old woman. So, I let to the audience decide a little bit what the future of this young guy could be, if there's something they can change so the future is not the same for this young guy. And that's how a little bit everything came together. I wrote this short film thinking of having the leading actress Magda Vizcaíno, who is like a big actress here in Mexico, playing this role. I mean, she was part of the process by sharing her concerns, so I wrote it to have her in this short film.
Right, and you have actually, even though we see the struggles of both the generations, you've managed to, towards the end, you have managed to put both of them in the same space in the end, and there is a moment of catharsis where we actually hear the lady and we don't see anything, which is just really, really amazing, because especially when the end credit rolls, that there was a moment of catharsis. So how did you come up with that, where you actually managed to put the two of them together in the same space?
Idea of having both of them, the young guy Julian is the character, has to make a choice, either to choose a family. Is this old woman he doesn't know anything about going to be her family, or does he have to obey what his family demands of him? So when he does this choice, a little bit the fate is already getting in course for both of them to meet. And what I wanted with this ending is like an empathy moment. Either both of them are not really connected by family, like by blood. They manage to, by empathy, to build a little small moment of empathy and probably hope. That was the idea of this final scene, and having both of them together
One last question for you would be, how the legal structure of a country affect these LGBTQIA lives, and you've actually managed to put that in the film where, I guess both the ladies have been living together for 40 years. And then in the absence of one partner, the other partner cannot, legally there's nothing they can do, and we see the struggle. So how did you incorporate that in this story?
In Mexico, you can already marry in some states, but not in the whole country. And another thing is that many old couples have lived together as roomies, maybe for decades. So they probably don't think they have to do anything to change it because they have living like that. Or maybe they are not aware that they can already change that status. So it is, I think it's kind of common to see old couples living like that. And my ex-sister-in-law is a lawyer for LGBT people, and she assessed the story about all the legal holes that could happen whenever a partner dies. And she told me horrible stories about the horrible stories that she has handled before. And I didn't want it to get so deep in the legal structure, but I wanted to be real. Like she assessed it in order to, yes, this could happen. This is a very probable scenario for this couple. So she was like the mentor in that part of the story, that the legal things matched the reality of Mexico in a very broad sense. I mean, Mexico City is probably a kind of exception to the rule. It's you can marry here and it's a little bit easier, but in the rest of the country, it's not that easy, and there's a lot of social pressure in order to avoid equal marriage and that kind of stuff. So it could be very difficult for old couples to keep going in that fight of having the rights or recognition, or don't worry about what the people will say about them. So this is how I try to squeeze in the legal part of Mexico in the story.
So now I will come to Arthur and Kelly. Touchscreen is a film. While watching, it hit me so hard. I was like, this is the perfect pandemic film. Like, we are all going through this. How did you preempt this? And how is it going to be? This is something which is, I don't know, do you think this is what the new normal going to be? How did you preempt this?
We started this project back in summer of 2017. So this is all predates what's going on now. And so it's crazy that it's oddly relevant, but it was not our intention. I wrote the script, at least the first, beginnings of a script, based on my curiosity about technology and how we connect with people online, and how there's a lot of safety behind your technology, behind your devices, to be whoever you want to be flirty and sexy and funny and smart, but in person, the real human-to-human, face-to-face contact is still a very vulnerable place to be. So it came from an online dating experience of mine, of a date that started online, but then ended up in person. It was very different in both scenarios. So I was very curious about how that technology, how we connect with each other via technology, but it's the human interaction that's still hard and vulnerable. So that was the kernel of the idea.
Yeah, so over time, Kelly and I worked together. Kelly is really the writer, though we worked together for several weeks, if not months, refining the script, finding the direction, trying to find what we thought was cinematic in it. But I think that I kind of credit myself with bringing like the harrowing part of the story and sort of the loneliness and the yearning for touch that the main character experiences. And I was really interested in how to explore cinematically the sense of touch when so much of it is mediated through screens. So to answer your question, I really hope this is not the new normal. I think that LGBTQ straight, all stripes of people yearn for human connection and specifically for touch. And I think in predating this pandemic, I think a lot of people, even though this technology was created to bring us closer, in many ways it has served as a barrier to actually experiencing human touch and really connecting with people in a very intimate and vulnerable way. And I think in many ways that's what the main character of this film is suffering from and has to overcome. And I think it's likely that a lot of people are experiencing that now, not because necessarily of their own internal obstacles, like in touchscreen, but because of obstacles that the world has imposed on us. So I really hope this is not the new normal, because I think, I see friends from time to time. We had friends come over yesterday and we had a socially distant bagel, because this is Brooklyn, so we had to have a bagel. And it's very strange to see friends and not hug them or kiss them or shake, touch them in some way. So I hope this is not the new normal. I think our film was really about pushing past this kind of obstacle. So I hope the world can do it too.
Right. In fact, your film begins with the guy who's the first person wearing takes off his blue shirt. In fact, he voices the opinion of the other person. He says, "I want to be touched." Arthur, you also mentioned about the touch hunger and how that. Could you please explain that term?
I think exactly this phenomenon of having our technology stand between us and, substitute for actual personal interaction, and that their bodies are literally hungry for touch. I can't wait to see Ivan's film, but I think older people, are hungry for touch. Young people, gay people, straight people, and that our society, with all of our devices, in some ways has connected us very effectively socially and with our work. And we can, I have a day job, and I successfully continue my day job from my home. But it's no substitution for literally skin on skin. We know with babies, we know with grown-ups that the sense of touch is very important to feeling self-worth and to feeling soothed. And I think a lot of people are really starving for that. And in this day and age particularly, people are starving for interaction. I think that's why there's a lot of misbehavior at this point in time, at least here in the United States, where people are going out when they shouldn't be and standing in crowds and doing what I think are foolish things or short-sighted things, in part because they're so hungry for that kind of intimacy.
Also, can you, before I move on to Kelly, I want to know what were the challenges of shooting this film, because technically most of the film is inside, and sometimes it's just two screens. How difficult it was, or how did you manage to shoot the indoor scenes?
Well, first of all, I had some brilliant help in our DP, Ruben O'Malley, and the entire crew that helped us, make all of that happen. But there were several challenges, some of which we knew we were going to experience going into it. There's, screens in some ways are every filmmaker's nightmare, because they can result in such a static result, and you end up watching your screen, watching someone watching their screen, and there's just no movement. So it was important for me that there be movement. I knew that I wanted the camera to be moving. So we do have quite a few, shots where the camera is moving in the space, both to show you how small that space is. Kelly's actually sitting in that space right now. You can see that our set, our set was very affordable, because it's Kelly's apartment and his bedroom specifically. So I knew that we wanted movement. The other challenge was that in order to achieve a kind of intimacy between the two main characters, between Kelly's character and Dom, that we wanted that interaction to happen in real time. We didn't want to record one side of that conversation and then have Kelly interact with that recording, because we felt like that would preempt some organic things, which I think was a good call, except from the perspective of sound, because JJ, who plays Dom, was in the next room, literally basically through the door you see over Kelly's right shoulder. And so we had a lot of sound issues in post, because there was, despite every effort, there was bleed from room to room. But again, I mean, we had a brilliant, a brilliant sound designer who worked with us in post. But I think ultimately it was worth it, because I think that those moments that people watch the interaction between Kelly and JJ, and it feels very real and very organic and very intimate. And I think that's partly because it was done in real time.
Kelly, tell me, you have also written the film. And now, so at what point did you choose to act and produce the film? Because where I'm coming to is basically how difficult do you think is to produce an independent film? I mean, it is difficult, right? So could you also tell us about, the writing process to producing it?
I've been an actor here in New York for 20 some years. That's why I moved to New York when I was, young, and that's always been my main passion. And then, as I've gotten older and time has gone on, I've gotten more and more interested about not just being an actor who shows up to participate in front of the camera, but I was very curious about what it would be like to collaborate behind the camera, to be a collaborator from inception to the end. And so in the last several years, I've been really interested about how can I be a creator and not just a participant or an actor. So so when I started writing it, I always envisioned that I would act in it because I love acting. And so that was always meant to be from the beginning. But then, as when you're writing it and you're making it, at a certain point, you're just like, well, let's just do this. Let's make it. And no one is waiting to do it for you. So you have to do it for yourself. And so, I decided I'm just going to do this. And I'd been saving up some money and decided I'm going to produce this myself. And at the beginning, I'm very grateful for the experience. I'm glad that I did. I would say that being a producer, a writer, and actor was probably too much for my first time out. Maybe 2 of the 3 would have been enough. I think especially producing and acting is tough because you have to be one person to be the producer, to manage everything that's going on and kind of keep the ship moving. But you need to also be a completely different person to forget about all that managerial logistical stuff and just be in the moment, be present for art, to follow art's lead and be present with the other actor. That part was very difficult for me to kind of take off one hat and put on the other and go back and forth. So I think that for me was the biggest challenge, but I loved it. It was such a wonderful experience. Art and I have known each other for years. We met on a film that he wrote and produced many years ago. So, and our Ruben, our DP, like he mentioned, was someone that was the DP on that film as well. And so I love this whole collaborative experience, this whole teamwork, something that you don't always get as an actor when you just show up to set and you work for a day. This was this wonderful collaborative partnership, creative teamwork, and I loved it.
So what are you guys doing right now? Are you preparing for your next film? What are you guys planning to collaborate on now?
So other than trying to get to the next day safely and happily, I've been working on a feature screenplay for quite some time. I'm sort of trying to, it's been through several drafts that's an understatement, but I'm really trying to get it to a place now where I feel happy with it and ready to kind of get it out and see if I can make that film happen.
I am probably shooting my next feature film somewhere next year. We have to see how everything follows up right now. But yes, I mean, the only thing I have to do right now is rewriting scripts. I have 3 scripts already starting the financing stage. So I'm rewriting them and trying to see, doing breakdowns and, you know, trying to keep busy at least with that. Otherwise, I would be running a little bit crazy. But yes, that's what I'm doing. I hopefully can shoot next year.
And so now I'm going to ask you, how has the festival journey of this particular film, these 2 particular films, Touchscreen and Encounter for you? How has the festival journey been, and what has been the reaction so far you've been getting?
Well, it started in Mexico's biggest festival in Morelia, Festival de Cine de Morelia, and it won. So it was the first festival, and it was a very nice surprise. And it covers some of the expenses of actually shooting the film. So that was, you never do short films thinking of actually doing some money. So it was nice to recover that investment. And after that, a sales agent got the short film, which was also new to me. I usually always distributed and sent to festivals. So Figa Films got to manage the festivals for Encounter. And we had a lot of, for March and April, a lot of festivals and invitations. And most of them got canceled. So that was like a low moment, but now it's getting started again. Like now that festivals have figured out how to do online festivals or postpone dates, etc. It's starting again. It's actually barely starting the festival route of this short film, but the reception has been very good in Morelia, where it screened, and it had a lot of screenings in Mexico City as an extension of this festival. And so far, I think that people connect with the short film, which makes me very happy. And it makes me very happy also that people acknowledges the leading actress, Magda Vizcaíno, because it's not so common that actresses from her generation are willing to portray lesbian characters. So it has been very well. She has had also, sorry, my English, but she has had very good reviews for her work, and we are very happy as a crew so far. I think it's my film with the best reception so far. So that's always, I mean, you do films for people to enjoy them or to people to think about them, etc. So I'm glad it's happening.
Great, amazing. Arthur, your take, Kenny?
Yeah, so we premiered at Florida International Film Festival in April of 2019. And we've had a really nice run. I think is this our 19th, Kelly? 18th, 19th festival?
19 or 20, yeah.
So obviously we haven't been able to attend all of those in person, even before travel restrictions and quarantining and all of that stuff. But we've had a really, if I can speak for both of us, we've had a really terrific experience. The festivals that we have attended and that we've been a part of have been a mix of LGBTQ festivals and also mainstream festivals. And I think one thing that's been really fascinating is the kind of response that we've gotten across the board, that the people who have really been moved or touched or relate to the film are, you know, women in their late 60s and like every stripe, every kind of person has connected with it, and people from all over the world in completely different circumstances. So it's been really rewarding to feel that there's something, although it's about one man's, one gay man's struggle, that there's something in it that's universal.
That's what films do, they bring us together and leave us with on a hopeful note.
So it was an engaging conversation. It was amazing. Thank you, Abhra, for conducting it. And thank you, three of you, for joining in from different parts of the world and sharing your stories about how you made the film and what's been the journey of the film. Really appreciate that.